What it do? I'm gonna do a quick little chat about writing, and my writing process might not be the right process, but it's how I like to write, and it might help you out. So when I write, a lot of times I'll write with somebody. So I'll say, hey, can you come write with me? I'll pay you to help me write. What I see is that helps a lot of times expedite your writing because you can play off the other person. So first I go through, I'll have the story, beginning, middle, end. Maybe a plot twist somewhere in there, but I guess that's the middle. Then I block off each scene to get to each one of those points. So every scene to get to the middle, then to get to the end. Then I'll go through and I'll do the script. And that's when I bring in a second person. I'll say, okay, let's go through the script. And I'll write out scene 1. This is how that goes. Scene 2. This is how that goes. And I spend maybe 25 an hour to that second person. It just depends. It depends how much I have. If I don't got any money, I might be like, hey, let's work out some, or I got $10 an hour for you or whatever. But I'm just saying. So I just know historically I've done I think it was 25. And so sometimes we can knock it out in, if it's a really short script, we might knock it out in 2 hours. So that's $50. So the other person's fairly or somewhat fairly compensated, and then you've got your project done. From there, I'll go through, and I'll say this, when you go through with the other person, you can ask questions. I highly recommend you ask questions such as, does this make sense? And get that feedback, because sometimes you might think of something going a certain way and it might seem obvious, but it's not obvious to your audience. And that other person be like, well, why are you doing this? And so sometimes there's these little logical flaws, and when you bounce stuff off another person, something that you wrote, they might have questions, which then they could represent your audience, and the audience will have those same questions. Well, why the actor do this? Why the character do that? And then you'll take out things or you'll add things according to what those questions may be. Same with comedy writing. You might have a joke, it's just funny on paper, it's just funny, it just sounds funny. And then if you look at the logical aspect, if you just want to go deeper into the joke, you might say, well, what do you think of this? Somebody might say, well, logically, I don't really think that makes sense. And then you can answer that person's questions logically, and then that might be funny, and then it goes deeper into the joke and the joke expands. So I don't know if this is gonna help anybody. I was just working on some projects and that made me think of this. So I was like, let me share it with people, my writing strategy and workflow.